This is a real tweet from Xbox. They said, "You don't know it, but you're living in one of the greatest ages of all right now." Posting this image, timeline through the ages, ancient age, medieval age, modern age, contemporary age, and Dragon Age the Veilguard. You are here. Yeah, because Veilguard is clearly the greatest thing ever, best game of all time. And I know they're joking around a little bit, but so many people have seriously been trying to prop this game up. As you might expect, the comments are not really agreeing with Xbox. So many corpos and their bootlickers have been going crazy lately, enraged that gamers have been winning simply by refusing to buy games from many of these corrupt Western AAA companies. This is something that I've talked about quite a lot recently, and now in this video, even more examples have come up. Over on Indie 100, Jake Brigstock made this article titled, "More than 1,500 games have been rated on wild, quote, woke detector, unquote." An online group has firmly brought the culture war of woke and anti-woke into video games, as more than 1,500 titles have been rated on an absurdly wild quote-unquote woke detector Excel spreadsheet. And that's not the worst part. More than half of them listed are not recommended because they contain details and features that are considered woke. What did you expect from something titled woke detector? How is that surprising? I love how he says that's not even the worst part though. Like, you can clearly tell that he's upset by this spreadsheet thing. He then posts an example of transgender character Serona Ryan from Hogwarts Legacy, but this seems like the worst example he could have used. Hogwarts Legacy? It was like the activist types on like Twitter, like the armchair activist types who were really upset by this game, saying that to like boycott it and making like lists of streamers who streamed it, hunting people like Pika-me down. Like, why would you use this example? This example hurts your argument. Look, I'll even say that I've seen some games that get not recommended on these type of lists that do seem like whoever put them on said list is taking too extreme of a stance on, like making too big of a deal out of things on occasion. However, plenty of times the not recommended posts are very reasonable, like simply not wanting to buy the very shoehorned in fake corporate DI slop stuff. Of course people don't want to buy games that come off fake and preachy. Who would want to get lectured by a bunch of lame corpos? I also find it hilarious when armchair activist types get all mad at gamers when they refuse to buy products from corporations. It's like they're mad that gamers are actually better activists than they are. At the time of writing, 403 titles in the document are recommended, 323 are informational, and a staggering 824 games are rated not recommended, with some hugely successful titles in there. There were corners of the internet that were up in arms because a transgender character in Serona Ryan was included in Hogwarts Legacy when it released in February 2023. Once again, this is a terrible example. Like, I can't believe this guy's actually writing this. Does he actually think this, or is he trying to like rewrite history here? Because if I recall, it was the boycott Hogwarts Legacy people that were all upset with Serona Ryan. They were saying the name Serona was transphobic because like the Sir. They were like, of course Hogwarts Legacy's trans character would be named Serona Ryan. This is a transphobic dog whistle. And it was actually a lot of the pro Hogwarts Legacy people defending that trans character by citing this Celtic deity Serona. He then says, unsurprisingly, the proverbial woke content detector's curated list of games does not recommend Hogwarts Legacy. So as I mentioned earlier, I do think sometimes the people making those lists, or at least posting, like partaking in the lists, are too extreme. This being one of those examples. I like Hogwarts Legacy. I think it's a cool game. So, it's just my opinion. Moving on. Oh, first, one more thing. I did check the list to be sure he wasn't making this up, and yeah, that is on there. This is sadly just one example of hundreds and hundreds, with each one having a similar format. None of the recent Call of Duty titles are recommended because of emblems containing pride flags. Forza Horizon 5 isn't either because the pronouns they, them can be chosen, and Bully Scholarship Edition must have caused repulsion among those who made this wretched list. Because players can get an achievement for kissing other boys with the lead male character. Video games are for absolutely everyone, and an entitled select few should not hold any influence when it comes to so-called recommending games on if they have content deemed woke. Do us all a favor, get over it, and just enjoy playing. So yeah, you guys already know my opinion here. I think sometimes the list makes some good points, sometimes they don't, sometimes they're too extreme and sound silly, but I do enjoy how they make corpos mad. Even if I disagree with some of the things these lists are saying on there, I do find them amusing because of that fact. Let me know what you guys think about all that, and now moving on to the next part of this video. Mike Rose over on his Blue Sky account made this post on Blue Sky with over 10,000 likes. A lot of people over there love this take, it seems. He says, everyone trying to work out why video games aren't selling anymore. Quote, too many games. Prices are too low. Marketing is hard, unquote. when the answer this time around is actually simple. The world got destroyed and no one has any money. People are struggling to pay bills and rent, let alone buy your game. Look, things have definitely been a mess, but when it comes to the gaming industry, largely the games not getting bought are AAA slop. And that post seems like it's trying to make excuses for these AAA companies. And when I say AAA companies, I'm also specifically talking about Western AAA. I should have specified that, but I'm clarifying it now. A lot of gaming companies in Asia, for example, have been doing great. Last month, FromSoft even announced that they were increasing the average basic salary pay by around 11.8%. And what's really funny is that the gaming companies over in Asia that are struggling right now are often the ones that are adopting Western practices like DEI. For example, as I talked about just yesterday, a recent financial report from Square Enix was so bad that it caused a massive sell-off of their stock and a market cap loss of around $350 million. This follows their partnership with Sweet Baby Inc. and their further involvement with practices as mentioned like DEI, which you can see them pushing all over their website. In my coverage, to be fair, I did also mention other issues not related to that. For example, the price of their games and how many people find them to be too costly, among other things. But the fact still stands that these Western policies they've been adopting certainly don't seem to be helping when other major gaming companies in Asia are not adopting those policies and are seeing extreme success. On top of that, we can see more evidence of these policies hurting Western companies when you take a look at games like SSK the JL and how that apparently cost Warner Brothers around $200 million. Of course, also Concord and the massive loss that was, and recently Dragon Age the Veilguard, which, while isn't as disastrous as Concord, seems like they're struggling to even hit break-even point based off all the current metrics. And when I say they, I'm referring to EA and BioWare, of course. So yeah, returning to that post from this Mike dude, I've seen a lot of people, often Corpos, making similar takes to that where they ignore the real policy issues going on at Western AAA companies, and instead they seem to try and deflect and cover for them. And keep in mind there are other issues going on at these corporations, for example, their inflated expenses. However, Mike is specifically talking about why people aren't buying their games, which is why I focused on discussing that specific point. And it's really weird how often certain types of people try to ignore how delving into DEI has verifiably caused a negative impact on many game sales. But moving on. I also want to talk about the Game Awards. Look at this. It says, according to the official website of the Game Awards, the opinion of the fans counts in the selection of the winners, but the value of the fan vote is much smaller than that of the jury vote. Thus, the jury's decision counts for 90% compared to 10% for the popular vote, aka the fan vote. And so the jury vote is right here. The jury includes IGN, Inverse, Jeff Gerstmann Show, Kinda Funny, LA Times, MinMax, PC Gamer, Polygon, VentureBeat, The Verge, Tough Arcade, What's Good Games, Game Rant, NPR, Pride.com, and Variety. So as you can see, most of this list by far has like nothing to do with gaming, but here you go. This is the jury for the Game Awards. I also know that most gamers, like, we don't care about this stuff at all. We don't care about the Game Awards. This is just some corpo nonsense, but it's another example of how lame this stuff is, and I thought it would be pretty funny to take a look at. Also hilarious how Kinda Funny is on this list, when just the other day we were talking about Andy Cortez from Kinda Funny, and how he went on this giant rant about gamers. He was like so mad that gamers dare criticize DEI. Anyways, that's it for this video. Let me know what you think about these topics in the comments. And if you missed the earlier video about 2B and Ubisoft and all that, consider checking that out too. Hope you enjoyed today's segments. Consider liking and or subscribing if you did, and I'll see you in the next one.